As we know, we are going to discuss fluid kinematics today, and in that we are going to discuss the continuity equation or the method we are using for calculating the rate of flow while the fluid is flowing through a pipe with different cross section or with certain cross section. So, it is being calculated with the help of continuity equation, which states that mass entering through a pipe will be equivalent to the mass leaving through that pipe, which is nothing but conservation of mass. And or you can say that continuity equations principle states that mass entering through any system, mass entering at this phase will be equivalent to the mass leaving to this phase. So, we need to calculate to prove this principle, we need to calculate the mass entering at any section and again the mass entering exiting at any section. If both of them are equal, then the continuity equation is verified in the flow. So, here you can see on working on the continuity equation, we have considered a fluid flowing through a pipe of non-uniform size, that is A1 at this section and A2 as upper section. The particle in the fluid moves in the same line or they are having the steady flow. Here you can see, if we consider the flow of fluid for a short interval of time, that is delta t, with a velocity v1, it covers a distance of delta x1. We have calculated the time v1, you have assumed the velocity at lower end of the pipe with cross section A1, it has the velocity v1. So, with the help of velocity, here you can say distance x1 can be calculated as v into delta t. The same you can see distance covered by the fluid in time delta t has covered a distance delta x, which can be calculated with the help of velocity calculated at that cross section multiplying the time we have scheduled for it. Now, since this is the distance you have covered, now to calculate the volume, or why we are calculating volume, we have already said that we need to calculate the mass at this section. So, we are relating the mass with the density and volume. As we all know, density is nothing but ratio of mass per unit volume. Here coming to the next one, with cross sectional area A1 at the lower end, you have already marked it as A1, multiplying the area into the distance, we will be getting the volume of the lower end of the section of the pipe as A1 V1 into the time delta t. If we are considering rho 1 as the density of the fluid flowing in this, then we are multiplying this density rho into the volume which we have calculated, that particular thing will be giving you the mass obtained. And here you can see, multiplying this mass into volume, we are getting the mass at section 1. But here what we can do, taking this time around mass, what it is giving to us, mass flux. Mass flux is defined as the mass of the fluid per unit time passing through any cross section, and here the cross section is the lower one. So, at lower one, with the calculation with the help of density, let us suppose rho 1, cross sectional area of flow V1 and velocity at that cross sectional area as V1. Mass flux will be rho 1 A1 V1 at this end of time. Similarly, this was the mass or the rate of mass or mass flux at lower end of the pipe. Now, we are coming to the exit one, applying all those formula, all those steps at the section 2 also, we will be getting mass flux as nothing but rho, density will be rho 2, rho 1 and rho 2 can be same only and only if you are mentioned or you are given that the fluid is incompressible, then rho will be constant. A2 area will be changed A2 and V velocity will be changing at that particular point V2, and the similar thing is given if the fluid moves with the velocity V2 throughout the upper end of the pipe having cross sectional area A2, in time delta t it covers a distance of delta x2. Applying the same formula, multiplying the density with the volume, you are getting the mass flux as rho 2 A2 V2. Now, as the flow is steady, the density of the fluid will be constant, that is at lower end and upper end it can be constant and taken as 0, they will be cancelled up. Applying the formula for continuity equation, that is mass entering to this point will be equivalent to mass entering to next point. Here you are getting rho 1 A1 V1 will be equivalent to rho 2 A2 and V2, and hence you can see it is the general form. Let us suppose if we have taken any section over here, this was section 1 and this was section 2, this was section 3, then also parameters would have been the same. A1 V1 rho A1 V1 is equivalent to rho A2 V2, and similarly it would have been equivalent to rho AN Vn, or you can say multiplication of the product of density of the fluid flowing through a cross sectional area A having a velocity v is always constant, and then this relation describes the law of conservation of mass, where you can see the rate of flow is always constant. And yes, before I have told you that if the density remains constant, it will be getting cancelled, and hence A1 V1 will be equivalent to A2 V2 or AN Vn, thereby giving you the calculation for calculating the rate of flow which we are supposed to calculate the fluid flowing through a pipe with the help of continuity equation, and it is nothing but volume attained per unit time, or volume attained, it can be calculated volume attained per unit time, or with the help of cross sectional area and the velocity of that section which we are dealing. You can write it as n. This was the mathematical calculation which we were dealing and which we need to apply in the numerical or while calculating the discharge from a pipe. And here you can see what the question is telling: calculate the velocity if 10 meter cube per hour of water flows. 10 meter cube of water flows means you are getting discharge as 10 meter cube per hour. In an hour you are getting 10 meter cube of water through a 10 mm 100 mm inside diameter pipe. A pipe is there whose diameter is 100 mm. You need to calculate the velocity. Also, if the pipe is reduced to 80 mm inside the diameter, you need to also calculate the velocity if again the cross sectional area or the diameter is being reduced from 100 mm to 80 mm. Simply applying that equation, A1 V1 is equivalent to A2 V2, or discharge is nothing but area into velocity. Discharge you are given as 10 meter cube per hour, we will be converting it into seconds, and then pi by 4 d square, diameter as 100 mm you were given, converting it into meters, normal dimension conversions are there. It will be 0.1 and this will be the velocity which you are supposed to calculate. With the help of this equation you are getting velocity of the pipe having diameter 100 mm is nothing but 0.35 meters per second. Now again they have said further this pipe of 100 mm is being reduced to a pipe of diameter 80 mm. This is 80 mm diameter pipe. Here it was 100 mm. And you need to calculate the velocity at this point. Again you are having a velocity of pipe 80 mm plus the discharge you are telling. We already know discharge is constant, that is rho A1 V1 is always constant throughout the flow. With the help of this, the amount of discharge we have kept for this pipe at 100 mm will be equivalent to or will be given or flown to the 80 mm pipe also. So, we are substituting the same discharge 10 by 3600, that is 10 meter cube per second cross sectional area into velocity of the pipe having diameter as 80, and after calculation you can say or you can get the answer as 0.55 meters per second. Let us not go into the mathematical section. The concept what to bring your attention that even if the diameter is not, it do not remain constant. The diagram if you focus here also I have not taken the cross sectional area as constant, or you can say first and foremost assumption was the pipe of non-uniform size. We are taking pipe of non-uniform size and hence the discharge was constant. Therefore, we are substituting the same discharge for 100 mm and the same discharge for 80 mm, because the amount leaving entering to this phase will be equivalent to amount of mass leaving this phase. Next numerical, this is also numerically we are not supposed to study much of numerical portion, but it is about how the application of this continuity equation can be achieved. You can say water runs through a pipe of main cross sectional area. You are having the cross sectional area of a pipe through which water is running and it is denoted as 0.4 meter square. Then with a velocity, that cross sectional area, let us say this is the pipe of cross sectional area, how much? 0.4 meter square. Similarly, it is having a velocity as 6 meters per second. Calculate the velocity of water if the pipe tapers down to a cross sectional area of 0.3. There has been a tapering and the cross sectional area becomes 0.3 meter square. Again applying A1 V1 is equivalent to A2 V2 from this formula. See, you are given two areas and one velocity. With that, V2 will be equivalent to A1 by A2 by V1. Substituting those value, you can get the answer or calculate it. Furthermore, this pipe, you can see a single pipe is there and cross sectional area is being reduced or changed, it can be increased also, and then you can calculate the discharge. Again, the condition may be in the different format, that is, now we are branching a single pipe, we are not reducing the diameter of the pipe or we are not increasing the diameter of the pipe, but we are branching that single pipe into two portions, this one as 1 and this one as 2 and this one as 3. Pipe 1 is being branched into two sections, section 2 and section 3. There also the phenomenon is very simple and very same, that is discharge remains constant, the amount entering from here will be equivalent to the amount moved over there and moved over there, that is you can see the amount collected from this pipe and amount collected from this pipe will be equivalent to the amount provided at the inlet of the pipe. Or dimensionally you can see, or calculation wise you can see, one pipe was there with a velocity V1 having a cross sectional area A1 is being branched into two sections. So, first of all we need to calculate the rate of flow through this pipe having velocity V1 and A1. Q1 will be equivalent to A1 and V1. Again this amount of water is being, or rate of flow is being supplied to two different pipes of different diameters and different velocities, that is A2 and V2, A3 and V3. Let us calculate the discharge through this point. It will be A2 V2 and discharge from this one, it will be A3 V3. Now we know we have given an input of A1 V1 which will be equivalent to summation of these two, and hence in case of branched pipe you can say Q1 will be equivalent to Q2 plus Q3 and so on. Also this pipe diameter can also increase, and here you can say another pipe is there, then also, and if it is Q initial, with the velocity a naught and cross sectional area a naught and velocity v naught, then this q naught would have been equal to q1. Q naught would have been equivalent to q1 because the amount or rate of flow coming from this end is entering directly to the cross section of one area, area 1. Q naught is equivalent to q1 is equivalent to q2 plus q3. This is how you can calculate the rate of flow with the help of continuity equation. Now, we will see what if continuity equation we are going to calculate in 3D, what if the flow is in 3D. So, let us see, we have taken an elemental fluid with lengths dx, dx in x direction, dy in y direction and dz in z direction. These are the lengths dx, dy, dz in x, y and z direction. We have also taken the velocity component in x direction as u, in y direction as v, in z direction as w. Now, we have marked the labeling because we need to understand, we need to prove, we need to see what are the changes or what should be there if the mass entering through one phase to other phase, if it is entering through this phase, how much it is leaving from this phase, or it is entering through the front view and leaving to the back one. Or simply you can see this is a dusted 3D fluid, we are taking it as 3 dimensions we can measure. The mass entering through this phase should be equivalent to mass entering through this phase, or the mass entering through this phase should be equivalent to mass exiting through this phase, or mass entering from this phase will be equivalent to mass leaving from this phase. These are the 3 dimensions we are going to consider. So, first in detail we are going to consider or we are going to calculate the mass entering in x direction to this phase and leaving in this phase. We will be getting some term, and similarly we can achieve the mass entering from y and z direction. So, now coming to the x direction. In x direction you can say we will be taking in x direction this phase, we are naming this phase as A, B, C, D. So, mass entering through this phase A, B, C, D will be equivalent to mass leaving this phase E, F, G, H, this phase. It will be nothing but rho A, V we have studied, rho A into V. Now, in x direction mass entering in x direction density will be rho only, cross sectional area in x direction. If A, B, C and D are the phases, then cross sectional area will be either multiplication of AB into BC, this is not CD, because AB and CD will be parallel to each other, AB and BC, here you can see BC, AB is nothing but into the velocity component in x direction, it is nothing but u. So, you have done density into AB into BC into the velocity component in x direction. Now, looking forward, what is the value of AB and BC? AB is nothing but this value dz, BC is nothing but this value dy. So, we have substituted density into dy into dz will be the area into the velocity in x direction as u. This was the amount of, this is the amount of mass entering through this phase in x direction A, B, C, D. Now, calculating the mass leaving, the value E, F, G, H, or you can say after travelling a distance of dx, you can see right there, we have entered the mass from here and we have calculated what is the mass over here A, B, C, D, rho dy dz into u. Now, we are calculating the mass exiting from this end, that is after travelling a distance of dx, what is the change in this mass. So, that particular change we are doing, the amount of mass it has entered plus that change in x direction with respect to this distance dx, after travelling this distance dx, what is the change, this will be the change. Now net gain will be nothing but mass entering minus mass leaving. So what we are doing? We are subtracting, or we are getting the difference mass entering minus mass leaving, or you can say this value is being subtracted to this value. Let me write it down, it will be more clear to you. dy dz into u minus of this entire section u dy dz, this was the entered value, and there will be a change after travelling a distance of dx. So if we are subtracting, again this value will be in minus, because as a whole we are subtracting, this value will be cancelled. What you are left with? Minus of del x of distance what? Rho u dy dz and dx, and this is what we have written, minus of del x rho u del x del y del z. This is what we have got. The net gain in x direction, the amount of what mass entered and amount of mass left, you have obtained certain value and it is in negative of this value. Now similarly we can go for y and z direction. Y and z direction, there will be a change, nothing but in the case of velocity and the area. Similarly for y direction, you can say, let me tell you, in y direction what will be the change after looking the change. See, this was the phase, so area of this was included and the velocity of x direction was seen. Now if we are seeing in the y direction, let us suppose this is the y direction, then the area of this direction plus the velocity in this direction, again the mass leaving to this value and leaving a value with a velocity v component. Same pattern is there, so components will be changing, that is there will be a negative gain, but in which direction? In y direction. Density is same, or we have taken for now as same. U component will be changing it to v, then again you will be getting at dx, dy and dz. Reason being, area will be, if AD HE you are taking, then area will be AD, that is dy, into dH, that is dx, with respect to another direction, then all these three components will be there. Similarly for z direction, it will be minus of del z rho, then velocity component will be w, again dx, dy and dz. This is the net gain from all three direction, x, y and z direction. As a whole, if we are adding all these, net gain of mass from x direction, y direction and z direction, that will be giving you the total gain in the mass from overall three directions. So we are going to add 1, 2, 3 equations. After adding, what you are getting, there is a common term, this term and this term is common and minus sign is common. So here you can see minus sign is common to this, and volumes dx, dy, dz, this substance is common to you, plus the difference of the velocity components in respective directions, that is change in velocity, also rho is there in x direction, plus there is change in velocity component in y direction, plus there is change in velocity in z direction, plus this value. This is the overall net gain you are getting from entire three directions. Let us name it as, let me change the color so that you can verify this equation as equation number 1. This is the summation of net gain or rate of increase of your mass from all the three directions. So, now we can see we have calculated the value from individual directions, that is from x, y and z direction. If you are seeing this cuboidal elemental shape, from x direction you have calculated the gain, then y direction, then z directions, and then you have added them up. Now, we will be seeing the rate of change of mass as an entire fluid. For that, we need to calculate the mass of this entire fluid. How much is the mass? So, mass of the entire fluid will be mass of entire fluid element will be nothing but density into the volume of this element. Now, coming to the volume of the element as a whole, first of all, at the beginning of the derivation we have seen that dx, dy, dz we have taken as the lengths of this cuboidal section in the corresponding directions x, y and z. So, the entire mass will be density into the volume dx, dy into dz. They are nothing but the lengths in x, y and z direction. This is the mass. For calculating the rate of change of mass, rate of increase of mass, as the term rate comes means time duration comes into the picture, that is we can calculate this entire value with the help of this time denotation, that is rho of dx, dy and dz, and we are naming this equation as equation number 2. Now, here you can say equation was I have named as 1, it was achieved by adding the individual net gain in the masses from the individual respective directions x, y and z direction, and this is the summation of entire. And as a whole, when we are dealing the cuboid as a whole, there you can see you are getting another equation 1 and 2. So, technically equation 1 and 2 should be equivalent because the cuboid is same, all the dimension is same and the cuboid is same. So, what you are writing, equating equation 1 and 2, writing, I am rewriting the equation 1 because of the page over here. You can see once again it is nothing but negative was common from in all of them, and change in velocity in x direction plus change in velocity in y direction plus change in velocity in z direction, and it was having all the sides dx, dy, dz. Let me take the another color so that difference can be made. This was equation 1 and this is equation 2. We are equating equation 1 and this as 2, where you can see dx, dy and dz is common, dx, dy, dz is common, and hence this term will be getting cancelled. Or you are getting an equation in terms of the change in density with respect to time, that is it will be defining whether the flow is steady or unsteady. If it is constant, then the flow will be steady. If it is varying or it is having certain value, then the flow will be unsteady. Let us see the generalized form taking all these terms are negative. Here itself you can see, taking to other side of this equation, what you are getting, change in density with respect to time as a positive term, it was already positive, taking all these to that side, equal equations other side of the equation, change in velocity in x direction plus change in velocity in y direction plus there must be a change in velocity in z direction, and it is equivalent to 0. This is the most common equation which you are getting for continuity equation solving in 3D. And then you can say if the flow is steady, this component will be 0, and if you are mentioned that fluid is incompressible, then this value will be taken as 0, leaving the generalized or normal equation as change in velocity in x direction plus change in velocity in y direction plus change in velocity in z direction will always be 0 for incompressible and steady equation. That is all. Thank you.